If you're into Game Boy, there's a good chance you'll like my new Neo Geo Pocket Color series too. Every Thursday I'm reviewing a new Neo Geo game. Just join the PO3 Patreon or become a channel member here on YouTube. After having the Amiga version of Prophecy brutally forced upon me when I was a kid, I'd hoped never to have to think about it again. It wasn't even that bad. There were just a handful of really irritating parts in it, and even though I didn't ask for the game, I had to play it to make my parents feel better. 8-year-old me was not the greatest actor in the world, and the gig was truly up when I actually broke a joystick in a fit of rage playing this. Suffice to say, I didn't have to pretend to like it anymore after that. Until I started collecting Game Boy, I didn't even know that this port existed. Oh, I miss those days of blissful ignorance. If you want the TLDR, here it is. Screw this game. For those of you still watching, let's examine, shall we? Immediately, if you've played this game before, and if you've been paying attention to my channel, you'll realize the first issue I have without me even telling you. The A and B buttons for jumping and attacking are the wrong way round. Stop it! Now you, as Brian, the Viking, have an attack range and strength of a potato peeler wielding child, because that's exactly what you are. The range looks short as it is, but in actuality the hitbox is even shorter than what it looks like. You will not manage to attack anything without taking damage due to the insanely close quarters you have to get to. Every enemy takes at least 4 or 5 hits to take down, which universally results in you getting smacked backwards. And not a short distance, oh no, you get flung back, inevitably into something else that hurts you. What kind of Viking gets injured by a bramble bush? Nonsensical. Speaking of getting flung backwards, attacking an enemy, if you manage to actually hit them, makes them fly backwards. I should clarify, they're backwards, regardless of which direction they're facing. So if you attack them from behind, they'll fly towards you and damage you. The whole thing stinks of a lack of coding knowledge to not even get such basics right. The movement physics don't feel at all correct. Pressing B to jump, it even hurts to just say it, causes Brian to uniformly jump into the air with no gravitational acceleration. Basically, his sprite just moves upwards until it reaches the zenith, then descends at the exact same speed. It feels clunky as hell and looks idiotic. You can't really do short jumps with a smaller tap of the button. It's either high or really high. There are moving platforms that constitute a lot of the platforming in place of actual scenery, a lot of which are hidden off screen in a blind faith jumping scenario that I really hate in video games. Well, that's just the vertical ones. The horizontally moving ones are even dumber, as you have to walk with them or you fall off. What video game in history can you think of that ever did that? Everyone knows you land on a moving platform, you idle there until it's time to jump off. Not so, my ignorant friend. This is the bold, bright future of video gaming right here. Well, seeing as how the Master System and Game Gear ports were cancelled when Sega saw how bad this toss was, and the fact that the purported sequel was toilet bowled altogether, clearly they were dead wrong. It's obvious what some of the enemies are. Why a mushroom would be sentient and levitating up and down, less so, but some enemies are unintelligible. They're just a mangled blob of pixels, some of them. Brian is basically nude save a loincloth and has this inane grin permanently plastered across his face. The background tiles are empty, the scant detail repetitive and poorly drawn. The music showcases the first usage that I could find of the famous crunchy drum sounds you heard on a lot of Game Boy Color games. You'll know what I mean when you hear it, and demonstrates this game's singular plus point. And boy, was it hammered home. The music is mostly decent, but it's overpowered by this obnoxiously loud percussion track that blares throughout the game. There are no sound effects at all, not a one, which is brought into hilarious sharp relief when the music track finishes and there's a good 10 seconds of deathly silence before it starts up again. Look, I could go on and on. I haven't even broached the subject of the one life nonsense or the fact that all the bosses have the exact same movement and attack patterns. All of the above just annoys me too much, and I don't want to think about this game anymore. Most irritatingly, it's evident that the other versions of this game, particularly a somewhat acclaimed Atari Lynx version, were just so much better. If only 8-year-old me had listened to his parents more.